It is June 20th, 2020. We're here on the rooftop of the house at 2439 Pine Street in San Diego, California, 92103. We're here on the rooftop over the master bathroom. We have a 1.5-inch vent, and then we have a newer 2-inch ABS vent here. So the bathroom was definitely remodeled. We're going to look down this vent pipe here, which was kind of loose. You can see we've got appears to be water standing in the line here. And it looks like this is capped. So let me pull this back out here. This is why we go up on the roof. We want to show modifications or if the vents are corroded full of anything. So this 2-inch ABS pipe here actually just completely moved. So you can see I'm actually rotating it 360 degrees here. It's actually loose. So it's capped though on the bottom. You can see there was that standing water in there. So it really needs a gym cap on the top. In case that cap ever goes, it'll let that water through the ceiling, attic area and into the unit itself. So I'm not sure why this was put in and then abandoned. But we'll go ahead and move over to the other vent here, which should be for the toilet, leading then into the sewer line for this home. Going down this original 2-inch cast iron. Now you can see it modifies and changes into plastic pipe here. So it looks like it's white PVC. Yeah, it looks like they use PVC. There's a T-junction right there for probably the shower stall. And then we have a 90-degree turn on the system right here. Now, unfortunately, with PVC pipe and even ABS plastic, sharp 90s, or we call vent 90s, are really quick turns. And so because of the modifications they did on this to change this bathroom around, we can't actually get the camera through this 90-degree elbow to then go down the vent stack to then enter into the main part of the sewer system from this point. So we're going to have to go ahead and pause the video. We're going to move over to the other vents that are on the rooftop here and see if we can access the main from there. Okay, so we moved away there from that master bathroom area, and we're now here above this 3-inch cast iron vent. It's still connected and things haven't been modified, lead into the other bathroom. That's the hall bathroom for the house. We're still seeing all straight pipe here, so it doesn't look like this one's been modified in any way yet. Okay, right there, that looks like our T-junction that picks up the toilets. You can see that wet area there. We did flush the toilets when we got here because the house is vacant right now, so we want to put water in the system to see if there's any sags or bellies in the line, which are pockets that just hold water and don't drain out. So continuing down this vertical line here. Now here's our transition right here to our horizontal pipe. So we're now in the main sewer of the house. It's all original cast iron. Here's the T-junction right here, and so this is what picks up the master bathroom. So we basically just couldn't come from the back side of this T-junction where these two pipes come together from that bathroom over to this point. So we do have a special camera that can sometimes make it through toilet bowls and down the line, and we will give that one attempt. But for right now, we're going to continue down this part of the system here. We have a T-junction right here. That's why it looks like there's that little bit of wall area. It's actually a T-fitting, picking something up from the vertical there. We do have the other sinks, the laundry, the kitchen, everything that has to dump into the system. So the cast iron so far, even though it's old and original, is open and doesn't have huge amounts of scale or buildup of deposit. So overall, to that point, looks in pretty good condition. Same here so far. completely functional, and doesn't have really heavy buildup yet. It's going to be a little bit of always buildup on the bottom and side walls, but again, right now, very minimal for the age of the cast iron in the home. Still looks in overall good condition. Really not finding any issues that again require any snaking, hydrojetting, or other cleaning at this time. The other thing we'll note really fast is our particular camera that we have is one of the newer ones on the market, and it does show our degree of tilt in the pipe, and this pipe has a pretty good fall. So normally a 1/4 inch per foot is what's required, and in some instances here we're seeing maybe even a little bit more than that. So that's probably why, even though it's older cast iron, again, it's not really holding any debris or anything. Everything's kind of getting out of the system really well because we're showing some pretty good angled slope to the pipe up to this point. So again, little pockets here and there of some scale and buildup, but nothing major. It's like maybe some dental floss right there. Do not recommend putting dental floss down the line, of course. Nothing other than toilet paper, feces, and kitchen food waste is the only products that should be put down. A little bit of a area of some debris right there, but nothing major. So again, you can see the bottom of the pipe's a little flatter, a little bit of deposits here and there, a little bit heavier through this particular area in the system than the first part of the system. But we're not finding anything caught in the system, so everything still has really good slope where we're at right here. We're a very steep downhill grade on the pipe. Okay, so here we have a root intrusion in the system. So here you can see the cast iron pipe on the left side there, and the right side the wall is cracking and failing on the line, and we've got roots intruding in the system. So the pipe is starting to fail at this point right here, and will require repair. You can clean these out with snaking. Preferably though, we do what's called either a chain knocker system or a hydrojet. You can see very extreme right here, extreme roots. So we're going to go ahead and pause the video to locate where this is at, because we're almost 100 feet out from the vent, and we've not seen any clean out T-junctions that we've passed. That's another thing that's going to be an issue as far as trying to maintain the line, even the rest of the portion. So we're going to go ahead and pause to see if there's any other clean outs near this area, but also locate this root intrusion. I'm going to back up just a little bit to kind of show the beginning of the system right here. Okay, so we've gone ahead and attempted to locate this, and it does appear that it is basically in the backyard, and the sewer line leaves headed towards the cross street, which is Conde Street, in that back corner. So essentially it would be the southwest corner of the property, and right where we're at here appears to be under the retaining or the wall that separates on that corner, so we can't get a precise location. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to go ahead and back up the camera here on the line multiple feet here from the 98-foot mark we were at, and come back quite a few feet here to verify that here at about 5 feet back or so that this is in the yard itself, so that it could be dug up and accessed for repair or relining. So we're going to go ahead and pause again and locate from this point. Okay, so we've located the sewer line right here a few feet back from the roots. This is just in the very, again, southwest corner of the yard, right after it leaves a retaining wall, and then there's a side wall again that's along Conde Street. It's running at an angle out of the yard, so there's not very much digging room right here to be able to access the line with all the other vegetation and walls in the way. The pipe is about 3 feet deep right here, so we're going to back it up about 15 feet really quick because we need to locate it in a flat area. However, that's a big step up, so the depth is going to be pretty large, but we're going to go ahead and just mark it so we can verify the path there. So we're going to pause one more time. Okay, so we pull back to about 80 feet, and so this is under the brick deck area on the side of the house that's next to the Conde Street, and we've located the sewer line here. It is about 3.5 feet deep, so it's not as bad. I think it's because that pipe is sloped so heavy when it has to go over the side where, again, the little retaining wall is for all this vegetation. So we're going to mark this with chalk. The other area in the corner of the house is marked with paint on the grass, but this is under the brick, so we'll mark this. Now we're going to push back forward again, go through this kind of quickly here, get back up to where our roots are and see if we can get through the roots to see how far away it is to the possibility of clay pipe or PVC, if in case the city's either redone or relined their part of the system. So coming up to the roots right here. So again, here's these really bad roots intruding in the line. So they're starting on the side wall. You can actually see on the left-hand side there the roots and that little black kind of a fissure line. So the cast iron again is cracking and failing just because it's old pipe. And here's the really super thick roots. So you can see they are blocking darn near everything. Now here's a transition right here, and we can see that the pipe right there appears to be a rubber boot, or that's plastic. So we can see that it's all this pipe at the end that's failed. The pipe again is sloped with some good decline on it. Super heavy. We're going to go ahead and leave our camera right here and try to see if we can possibly locate this in the heavy vegetation on the hillside past the fence line, again, which is along Conde Street. Okay, so we've located this portion of the pipe here, and this is in the very corner, unfortunately, underneath the walls that literally separate getting outside of the yard. So we can't get it at a dead-on precise location and depth, but we know from where it leaves the backyard, it's just ahead of this. There's utilities in the way. It's not a diggable area in any way, shape, or form. So this line is going to need to be hydro-jetted out to rip all the roots out, clean it, and then would have to be relined to really be able to get this corrected. And then once it's jetted out, then the rest of this line can be looked at after this point. So it is still the homeowner's responsibility all the way into the street where it junctions into the city. However, there are some concrete patches in the line, and based on this piping I'm seeing right here, which again appears to be either plastic and or at least a rubber boot for a transition, and I don't see red or orange clay pipe right after that, so I'm guessing that this was possibly repaired at one time, or the city redid part of their stuff even into the street and back up to this point here, possibly. But I can't say that definitively. We cannot get the camera through because this is at a really harsh turn. As you can see, I'm digging into the wall of the pipe, and the roots are just blocking everything. So we're going to go ahead and leave our camera right here where all these roots are at. We are going to go ahead and try to inspect the kitchen to verify if there's a vent at all, because we can see from under the sink, unfortunately the kitchen plumbing was not installed to code. And then we did find another clean out for the other bathroom where we tried from the rooftop in the crawl space, so we'll move our other cameras down to there. So we're going to pause the video. Okay, so there's our camera that we have going through that roof vent, and we've now moved over onto this side of the house. Again, here, that is Conde Street, and we're looking across the street from here. That's where the sewer line runs to. On this side of the house, above where we're at here, we have the kitchen. This is the only vent pipe. It is a newer 1.5" ABS. So we're going to try to go down this line and see if this is junctioning into... Oh, looks like it's going into nowhere. We're going to pull our camera out here and wipe off these cobwebs. So, pull this up here. So it appears that this goes nowhere. This goes right into the wall and attic space there, as you can see. So this is completely wrong, obviously. This one also needs a gym cap on it, just like the other plastic one we saw on the other side of the roof above the other bathroom does. So that means there's literally no vent for the kitchen. So there's an island sink, which is very specific on how the venting has to be done in the state of California, and even other states as well. It is not plumbed under the sink right. We have no vent here on the rooftop, and that is required, of course, for every fixture. So that would have to be completely tore out and redone somehow, which is very complicated. So we're going to go ahead and pause and move over to the lowest level where the other sewer clean out is for the other master bathroom. Okay, so we're now here in the crawl space off this entry point on the other side of the house. And above us, you can see the white PVC lines that were put in for the drain. There's the tub in the corner. There's the toilet line coming across. So again, we saw that transition to white PVC for the venting. It does come back down into the 4-inch ABS plastic here, and they do have a sewer clean out, and immediately goes back into the cast iron, which is then going through this slab here. So we're going to go ahead and look through this line here, because this is part of the piping we could not get to from the roof vents. So we do have this access here. There's 190 here, and then it looks like a T-junction right here for a turn. So again, we have our other push rod from the other access point from the roof still in the line, so when we come up to that, we'll see. So just a little bit of scale buildup right there, but again, no big deal. Here we have our turn on the line with another T-junction. So we've already passed a couple T-junctions underground, so unfortunately, I have a feeling that the lining company may not be able to push through from this access point to actually try to get all the way out to redo the cast iron that is got the heavy root intrusions near the end of the line by the fence. So going across this part of the system here. Again, the pipe is nice and open for the age, and here you go. Here's our other T-junction, and there's the push rod from the other camera that picks up from the other bathroom in the house. So we've now got the entire main essentially scoped out from under the house and across. We now are going to go ahead and pause the video, pull this out. We're going to look at the other laundry that's down here behind this wall in the crawl space to check the venting and drain for that. Okay, so we're going to kind of just shift this slightly if we can move it around. And so you can see right there behind this wall, that is the white little recessed box for the laundry. It's been capped off inside, the handle's removed, and the water line's capped for some reason, but everything's still attached. You can see there's the ABS plastic drain line, and then it goes through this wall, and then here we have a clean out access right here on this wall. And as we look up, we actually have the pipe fully open up top there, so we have to check to see if that is the vent and if it's not connected properly. So we're going to go down this line here just to make sure this is still connected and has not been abandoned in some way. Here's our T-junction. That might be another clean out or utility sink T-junction. You first come right there, and then this lower one right here would be the one that picks up the laundry drain itself. Now here it goes into the original 2-inch cast iron. So this must have been always the laundry, and then here's our dump into the main sewer. So this line is still connected completely. Our only concern is going to be the venting though. So as this goes through, there's the T-junction right there, and that would be for the vent that needs to continue up. And as we go up to the top of the ceiling here, we can see this opening. We're going to try to fish our camera in there. Here we go. So you can see that is just a 45 right there, which is partially exposed outside the wall. Back it up just a little bit more here. So there's the 45, that's straight pipe. We've not passed any T's. So we're coming back down here. And here's our other access point. So we can actually see the light here of our camera from the clean out access we went. So that is the vent. It is not connected at all. So that is out of code, and they had no real way to connect this again because there was probably never a laundry there. They added that, of course. It's all newer piping, and it was never finished. So this needed to go to a wall, and then again the vent run up to the rooftop. So this would have to then run across this ceiling to be completely to code, penetrate the wall, and then go on the outside of the house to get up to the rooftop. The only other option you have, which is not code in the city of San Diego, would you'd have to put again what's called a Studer vent or an air admittance valve on the end of this line. One, you need to do that in general because all the sewer gases are going to continue to come out of this line right now the way they're opened up. And that would be from the sewer and everything. So I don't think there's any chance of any leakage coming out of there from anything backing up. It's too high up the wall because there's other plumbing down at this level in the lower unit, but that's going to need to be corrected as well. So that is completely out of code right there. So we're going to go ahead and pause the video. Okay, so moved over to the kitchen here, so we just want to show this. This is the island sink for the kitchen. That's a wood beam there, load bearing. The kitchen drain pipe here goes in the wall. Now we are able to use not our camera here, but a borescope to go through that little hole and steer it up. We verified that the line is out of code. It has no vent, and again, we knew that from going on the roof earlier, as we mentioned and showed. But what they have buried inside the wall here, just a few inches up from where this pipe goes in, there's a T-junction. It goes up a few inches to what's called a Studer vent or an auto vent or an air admittance valve. One of those three names are all utilized. So that is not to code in the state of California or in the city of San Diego. An island vent has to have a loop pipe exposed outside here, and then as it goes down and into what essentially would be the ceiling, because there's a room below this, there would be two pipes. The drain line going out, and right above it would be the other horizontal line of vent pipe running to a sidewall, which then had to lead to the rooftop. And that is not happening, so that will need to be corrected. Additionally, the air admittance valve is probably leaking inside the wall, especially with sudsy water or a heavy volume all at once. They do fail, and that's why they're not allowed to be used, and they also have to be exposed in an accessible location. So this is out of code as well. So that concludes the recording for this property.